Okay, here we go, guys. I'm going to be working the exercises for chapter 7.3. So if you need to retake the test, that you're able to practice using the practice exercises in 7.3 for the special right triangle, the 45, 45, 90. Remember, in the summary, the 45, 45, 90 triangle is an isosceles triangle. That means the legs are congruent and the hypotenuse is always the leg times the square root of 2. Based on that, we could work these exercises. Take a look. They're asking me for a leg right here. Now, since this is a leg y, then the y is going to be whatever the other leg is, and they gave me the other leg. So it's an isosceles triangle. That means this is also 45 degrees over here. So that means these two legs are congruent. So y equals 8. And then the hypotenuse, which is across from the 90-degree angle, is going to be whatever the leg times the square root of 2. And notice how easy that is. Here's another 45, 45, 90. So that means they gave me this time the hypotenuse. So I know the hypotenuse is the leg times the square root of 2, you see. So I'm going to solve for that. So that means these two numbers are the same. So I'm going to say x times the square root of 2 is the same as 7. So divide by the square root of 2 on both sides. That's going to give you that x. Remember to rationalize the denominator. So therefore, you bring that square root of 2 to the top and just leave the 2 outside of the radical. So 7/2 square root of 2. So that means a and b are both the legs. They're going to be both 7/2 square root of 2. So 7/2 right here, 7/2 square root of 2. And notice how I write the 7/2 square root of 2 right there. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Here they gave me that the hypotenuse is 6 times the square root of 2. Remember that the legs is whatever, the legs are going to be the hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2. So this is, so I'm going to take that and notice that this cancels. That means the legs are both 6. Okay, so x and y, they are both 6. Here they gave me that the leg is 6, so is this one inverted. So this, the y, the other leg is going to be 6, and the hypotenuse is going to be right here, you see, 6 times the square root of 2. See how simple this is? Now they gave me a 30, 60, 90. Don't confuse that with a 45, 45, 90. Remember they gave me 6 for the hypotenuse. Remember the hypotenuse is twice the short leg. The short leg is going to be x, and then the long leg is going to be x times the square root of 2. Notice that 6 and 2x happens to be the same, so I'm going to say 2x equals 6. Solve for x, dividing by 2 on both sides. That means x equals 3. That means the short leg right here, which is v, equals 3. And then take that 3 and multiply it times the square root of 3. Times the square root of 3 right here. So u is 3 square root of 3. Notice then the 30, 60, 90, you're going to multiply by the square root of 3. In the 45, 45, 90, you're going to multiply by the square root of 2. So remember that this is a 45, 45, 90. So I'm asking for y. Y is congruent with the other leg. So that would be 2 square root of 2. And take that number and multiply it by the square root of 2. Now remember that if you multiply, these two are the same. That means that's a perfect square. That means this is 2 times 2. Or 2 times the square root of 4, which is 2 times 2 still, you see? And 2 times 2 is 4. That means x equals 4. All right? 4. All right, let's move on. Number 7. It's still a 45, 45, 90. Now they give me something that is other than the square root of 2 over here. But I know this is x square root of 2. Okay. So I'm going to take that x square root of 2, and it's gonna be equal to 3 square root of 10. That means these two numbers are equal, so therefore to solve for x, divide by the square root of 2 on both sides. Since this is under the radical and this is also under the radical, I could divide 10 divided by 2. You see, the square root of 10 divided by the square root of 2 is the square root of 5. So that means x is 3 times the square root of 5. So that means a and b, which are the legs, is going to be x, which is 3 times the square root of 5. So a and b is going to be 3 times the square root of 5. They're congruent. Here they gave me a 30, 60, 90, which the hypotenuse, remember this is 2x, this is x, and this is x times the square root of 3 in the formula, right? When you go to the formula chart, that's what they will give you. So notice that I don't have y, I don't have x, but I have 6 square root of 3, that equals 2x. So I'm going to say that 2x is equal to 6 square root of 3. Divide by 2 on both sides, and that gives me my x, which is my short leg. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Leave that the square root of 3 is there, so that means y, or the short leg, is 3 square root of 3. Take this number right here, and if you want to go here, take the x, which is 3 square root of 3. See? The x right there. I'm going to substitute it for 3 square root of 3. And then put the next one, which is the square root of 3 again. And it happens that this is 3 square root of 9, which is 3 times 3, which is equal 9. So that means x is 9. And as you can see, you keep working these, and they become very, very easy. Here's another 45, 45, 90. They gave me the hypotenuse, and I know the hypotenuse is x times the square root of 2. And this is x, because they are congruent, right? So u and v must be equal. So all I have to do now is equal these to x square root of 2 and solve for x. So x square root of 2 equals 8. Divide by the square root of 2 on both sides. It gives me my x. Remember, you must rationalize the denominator, so bring this number to the top and leave the 2 outside of the radical. So 8 square root of 2 divided by 2. Now this is 8 halves. 8 halves could be simplified to 4. So that means this is 4 square root of 2. So that's my answer. So that means u and v are both 4 square root of 2. Okay. Here's one where they gave me two triangles put together. They're the hypotenuse of the smaller triangle, which is a 45, 45, 90, happens to be the side of the bigger 45, 45, 90 triangle. So they give us the hypotenuse of the big triangle. So take that and say, well, that is x times the square root of 2. So that means these two numbers are equal. So x square root of 2 divided by the square root of 2 equals 10 divided by the square root of 2. Okay, this cancels and it gives me that x. Rationalize the denominator by bringing this up, leaving this outside the radical. Now you have 10 halves, and 10 halves is 5 square root of 2. So therefore, I know that now these and these, which are congruent, this is 5 square root of 2. But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the leg of the smaller 45, 45, 90 triangle. So therefore, since this is also 5 square root of 2, and that's the x square root of 2 over here, see, 5 square root of 2, which is the same as this. So I could say that x square root of 2 is the same as 5 square root of 2. And then go there and divide by the square root of 2 on both sides to solve for x. What's going to happen is that square root of 2 cancels, so x equals 5. So this x right here, or this leg, they're both 5. So therefore, that's my answer. See? Let's see, are there any more? On number 11, they give us another 45, 45, 90 put together, where they gave me the leg of the first triangle, which is a 45, 45, 90. So remember, the leg is x, so I already have x. The hypotenuse would be x times the square root of 2. So since I have x, I'm going to say, well, 10 square root of 2 times the square root of 2, which is 10 times the square root of 4, which is 10 times 2. That means that is 20. So this hypotenuse right over here, this one right here, that is 20. Since that is 20, then the x, which is the other hypotenuse, must be whatever that leg is, which is also 20, times the square root of 2. So x is equal to 20 times the square root of 2. Here they put a 45, 45, 90 together with a 30, 60, 90. So I have to apply both rules. So they gave me the leg of the 45, 45, 90, which gives me the hypotenuse to be 6 times the square root of 2. Now I have the short leg. I'm looking for the hypotenuse. Just double it. So that means 2 times 6 is 12 times the square root of 2. And that's your answer. Okay. There you are. Okay, now they give us an algebra review. All you have to do is complete the inequalities. This is solve. So I'm gonna, since 2 is being multiplied by the parentheses over here, this number in the parentheses, that means I could divide by 2 on both sides. So that means x plus 7 is greater than 10 divided by 2, which is 5. Subtract 7 on both sides. So x is greater than 5 minus 7 is negative 2. Then they gave me the next one as another inequality where it's greater than or equal to 10, or this right here, right? So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So I have 3x plus 5 is greater than or equal to 10 times 2, which is 20. Subtract 5 from both sides. So that means 3x is greater than or equal to 20 minus 5, which is 15. That means divide by 3. X is greater than or equal to 15 divided by 3, which is 5. And there you have it. The next one says factor. So that's pretty simple. We'll take this F. Remember to put it 25 over here and the negative 10 over here. So in this case, this number is positive, this number is negative. In order for this to be positive, that means they both have to be either positive or they both have to be negative. However, this one must be negative, so they both have to be negative. In this case, 5 times 5, negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25, while negative 5 and negative 5 is negative 10. So that means F minus 5, F minus 5. So that means is F minus 5 squared. All right. Okay, here's another one where they asked me to factor. What I want to do is I want to multiply A times C. 2 times 21 is 42. Would be in the bottom right here. Now, what are the factors of 42 that adds up to 17? That would be what? 3. Oops. Let's erase that. That would be 3 and 14. 3 times 14, 42. 3 plus 14, 17. So now I have to rewrite this. Now, 3 doesn't go with the 2, but it goes with the 21. So I want to rewrite this. It's 2h squared plus 14h plus 3h plus 21. Notice that this number now is 14h plus 3h. I just broke it down into the 2 factors over here. Now group them. 2h squared plus 14h plus 3h plus 21. Greatest common factor is 2h. So I have h plus 7. Take this one, put it over here, h plus 7. And now divide 3h by h is 3. Excuse me. So my factors is 2h plus 3, the 2 outside numbers, and h plus 7. Next part is graph. So they gave me the equation of the line in standard form. I want to find my x-intercept. 15 divided by 2, that's not an easy one because it's going to be a fraction. So I'm going to get 15 divided by 3. I'm going to get the y-intercept. So 15 divided by 3, that's what? That's 5. And then the next one is the opposite, or the slope is the opposite of A divided by B. So negative 2/3. So that means I'm going to go 2 down, 3 to the sides. And the line that goes through those two points, that's my line. Another way is you could solve for y, right? You could put this equation in slope-intercept form. So take that 2x, move it to this side, and then you have 3y equals negative 2x plus 15. Then divide by 3 on all of it, right? So divide by 3. Remember, you must divide by 3 everything. Then your equation would be y equals negative 2/3 x 15 divided by 3 plus 5. Notice your y-intercept was 5 and your slope is negative 2/3. See how that works? But if you understand that the slope is the opposite of A divided by B, then that becomes apparent without you having to do all this. Okay, so here's 6 divided by 3, that gives me the y-intercept, which is 2. The slope will be the opposite of A, so negative 9 divided by 3. What is negative 9 divided by 3? Well, that's 3, right? That's 3. Oh, actually, negative 3, I'm sorry. So that means I'm going to go down 3 and 1 to the side. 1, 2, 3, 1 to the side. The line that goes through those 2 points, that's my line. Continuing on. I'm going to skip this because you should know that one. That one is just multiply that by the square root of 2. This is 3 square root of 2. And this is 3 times 2, which is 6. All right, this is 4. So half of 4 divided, or half of 4 times the square root of 2 would be here. All right, moving on. Moving along pretty good. And here says Spider-Man is testing out how far he can sling his web. He positions himself on the ground and shoot his web to the top of the building. So he's here. And he shoots his web to the top of the building. So let's draw a line. There. There. Okay. Now, the angle between the webbing and the ground forms a 45-degree angle. So, oops, sorry about that. Let's see. And this is 45. If this is 90, this must be 45. Obviously, it is not drawn to scales. Don't worry about how it looks. All I know is a 45, 45, 90. Now, he knows the webbing will shoot 450 feet. So this is my hypotenuse. Now, draw and label picture of Spider-Man slinging his web. How tall is the building? So basically, there it is. And how tall is the building? Well, it will be, since this is the hypotenuse, divide that by the square root of 2. So 450 divided by the square root of 2 is the same as 400. Actually, you don't need to, if you want exact, it would be 450 square root of 2 over 2. 450 divided by 2, that's 225. So this is the exact is 225 square root of 2 feet. If you want to put that on the calculator, here we go. 225 times the square root of 2 is approximately 318.2 feet. That's approximately 318.2 feet. That's how tall the building is. All right, let's see. B. Spidey positions himself to sling up a new building. This time the angle between the ground and his weapon forms a 60-degree angle. So now Spidey is here, and right? And he positions himself to sling a new building. So let's see, from his hand to the new building right there. Now, this angle is a 60-degree angle. So that means it's a 30, 60, 90. Remember that sling is 450 feet. Since this is 30, this is my 90 degrees, that's the hypotenuse, this is the short leg. The short leg is always half of this one. This one would be 225 feet. So the short leg would be that divided by 2, which is 225 feet. Then which building is taller and by how much? Well, the first building was taller. And if you want to find out by how much, find the difference. So 318.2 minus 225 feet, right? So 11 minus 2, that's 9. So by 93.2 feet. So the first building is taller by 93.2 or 2/10 feet. Already? Pretty neat. Which has an area that is greater, a 30, 60, 90 triangle with hypotenuse of 4. So let's say this is a 30, 60, 90. 30, 60, 90. So this is 60, 30. This is 4, this is 2. And this is 2 square root of 3. And then 4, a triangle with a hypotenuse of 4, that is a 45, 45, 90. Well, this is 4, this is 2 square root of 2. Alright, so if you want to find out, you just have to find the area of a triangle. The area of a triangle is given by base times height divided by 2. Here's the base. So 2 times 2 square root of 3, all of it divided by 2. 2 times 2 is 4 square root of 3 divided by 2. That's the area of that, which is 4 divided by 2 is 2 square root of 3. So that's the area. And this is in whatever units, or square units. Okay, now here you got 2 square root of 2 square. So 2 square root of 2 square. That means this is 2 times 2 is 4. And the square of that just clears that times 2, which is 8. So the area of this is 8 square units. Now, which one is bigger? Well, let's look. 2 square root of 3 is approximately 3.5. So this one is approximately 3.5 square units, while this one is 8 square units. Obviously, the 45, 45, 90 would have a larger area. Okay, so this will have a larger area right there. Okay, we'll have any more? Nope, that's it. So that's it for today, guys. You have a wonderful day. Keep practicing.